Coming up in the Bahamas tonight, fire survivors tell the stories that fire officials are working to stomp out after a staggering number of fatalities in the last year. An infant undergoes a delicate procedure as doctors perform a first-time operation in the Bahamas, and find out what benefits the Bahamas has already reaped from Caribbean Marketplace. All those stories and more straight ahead in the Bahamas tonight.
Covering the islands of the Bahamas, ZNS Network presents The Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news is brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
Good evening and welcome to the Bahamas Tonight, the National Report. I'm Keishla Adderley. Thanks for joining us. Topping the news tonight, there are many recent incidents of fire that caused both mass destruction and tragically loss of life, 2 of them this year. The high rate has fire officials concerned and warning homeowners to take precaution. In this report, Shanique Miller recounts, along with one of the most recent fire survivors, the harrowing experience he endured and what effect the episode is still having on his family.
It's the first time something ever happened like that to me.
Still shaken up and visibly emotional after a fire gutted his home, James Flowers is reliving that fateful night a week ago when his wooden house went up in flames. One of the home's occupants burned beyond recognition.
I had to sleep 5 more minutes and wanted to be me and the children. That's how close the fire was to my room door.
But 15-year-old Shervin Colebrook will have the scars to show for the rest of his life. The Stapleton School student, only just released from hospital this morning, stood with his family as they stared at the foundation that once bore their home. His face burnt, scarred, and peeling. His head, shoulder, arm, and hands still bandaged.
The fire wake me up.
So you being burned is what woke you up?
Yes, ma'am. Thank God he, still alive,
Hazel Colebrook owned the wooden home. She lost her brother in the fire. Now, she begins the process of picking up the pieces. Her 11-year-old daughter still hospitalized. Too often, Bahamian families are finding themselves here, hopeless, homeless, and more often than not, left with only the clothes on their backs. House fires have increased in the past year. In the month of January 2011, there were 186 fires and many more for the remainder of the year. Unfortunately, 18 of them were deadly. January 2012, firefighters report more than 100 fires with 2 deaths. The numbers are tragically telling, but are Bahamians listening and heeding the warning to outfit their homes with these smoke detectors? The answer is no.
Well, I guess probably I didn't just come around to it.
Delcina Frazier is like the majority of homeowners in the Bahamas. Our news team conducted a phone survey of 10 homes here in New Providence. Out of the 10, 9 had no smoke detectors installed. Only 1 had a smoke detector. Julian Camp at Bahamas Welding and Fire says people appear more concerned about having their businesses outfitted with these life-saving devices.
What we found is that the fire department, the fire prevention branch, they've been getting much stricter with the businesses, and they've been coming in, the business owners, and even when we go to their property, they're wanting to add more and they're wanting to do more.
That is the sound a smoke detector makes, loud enough to wake an entire household. Kemp says smoke alarms should be installed in a hallway, near but not in a kitchen. He also said in the case of a 2-story home, detectors should be on both floors. In fact, Bahamas Welding and Fire goes to various homes to do site checks. Kemp points out a very dangerous practice that can prove fatal in the event of a fire.
You have a deadbolt and you lock the door. The only way to unlock or lock this door is with your key.
Kemp suggests keeping the key in the door. While the Department of Social Services has stepped in to provide assistance, this Black Village family is at the mercy of others until their home can be rebuilt. With limited clothing and money, they're hoping members of the public and the government step in. Shanique Miller, ZNS News.
Meantime, police say they're also concerned about the growing number of fires on the Family Islands. You may recall that this year an 11-year-old Lower Bogie Luther boy lost his life in a house fire. Director of Fire Services, Assistant Superintendent Walter Evans, says Family Islanders are more vulnerable as emergency response is not as readily available. Evans is urging Family Island residents to follow the same warning his department is giving to those here in the capital.
But the value of a smoke detector will outweigh the fact of any amount of money, so what you will try to do in terms of trying to replace the lives of individuals or even personal possessions. To homeowners, we are saying to individuals there should be an escape plan that should be implemented. At least 2 ways should be implemented once a fire takes place. It's a simple message that we say. Have a smoke detector installed in the event a fire takes place, and then know how to get at least 2 ways out.
Well, she's only 3 weeks old, but she's about to make history as doctors perform for the first time in the Bahamas what they hope will be a life-saving procedure. Tomorrow, doctors will attempt to address a mass growing on the spine of the conjoined twin during an operation at the Princess Margaret Hospital. LaDawn Davis has details.
It's a surgery that can very well test the expertise of a team of doctors at the Princess Margaret Hospital. In less than 12 hours, they will surgically remove a mass that's not only growing on the lower back of a 3-week-old conjoined twin, but feeding off its oxygen and nutrients. Neurosurgeon Dr. Ekidede Magnus says his medical team monitored the large growth through an ultrasound before the baby girl's birth, and now it's only fitting that a surgery is carried out to save her life. Although nervous, Dr. Magnus says his team is prepared.
I have brought in a professor from Miami, Professor Adobeti, and we're going to be assisting me directly in this operation. And we have our own surgeons from Loxley to Strakant and Fitzgerald. These are plastic surgeons and general surgeons, and we have cardiologists because we believe this parasitic twin or sacrococcygeal teratoma is a high flow, or called high flow. Means it sucks so much blood, and we have to make sure the cardiologist is there to help us.
Now, the parents of this young girl are not speaking out in the issue, but they are aware of how risky and expensive a surgery of this magnitude is. Dr. Magnus says the success rate is 40%.
We try to develop a technique. I'm going to sit with Adobeti and the rest of the surgeons, and we're going to draw the roadmap. How come we cannot lose so much fluid? If you lose so much of that CSF, you're going to have hypertension that probably lose the baby. So the parents know how severe this operation is. We haven't done that before.
If we do not operate on this baby, the chance of dying is 100%. This baby will die without the operation. So the team made the decision that we have to do what seems rather difficult, and go for the surgery and give the baby the best chance of survival.
Dr. Magnus says he has sought the assistance from experts at Doctors Hospital to use machines to recycle the child's blood. He's also asking for the public support and prayer during this time. Doctors say the 3-week-old baby girl is breathing on a respirator and is in stable condition, but the mass is rapidly growing. Meantime, medical experts say they are optimistic that the surgery tomorrow will be a successful one. LaDawn Davis, ZNS News.
Well, 2 weeks ago, we told you about a grief-stricken Brown family who expressed a concern about the poor state of their loved one's remains. They claimed that Rico Brown's body was not properly stored at the hospital's morgue, left swollen and partially decomposed, restricting them to cremation. This issue raised in Parliament by Angliston MP Glenys Hannah Martin and responded to by Health Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis.
Requested an investigation and would await the investigative report. I would not want to speculate because I would have ideas within my head, but that's not confirmatory. So rather than speculating, I would prefer to wait for the official report.
Today is the deadline for civil servants interested in purchasing shares in the initial public offering of the Arawak Port Development Company through their respective companies. Ministry of Finance officials told us today that the government's offer has been well received with 2,000 applications so far. Now, finance officials will review each application to ensure that each employee can maintain the 25% take-home policy. And we've been told by finance officials that the review is underway. After that, the relevant information will be submitted to officials at the Arawak Port Development Company, who will determine the allocation of shares. The latest annual report for the Bahamas Maritime Authority reveals that primarily due to the reduction in registration income and other registration-related fees that revenue is down. According to the report for the year ending June 30th, 2010, tabled in the House of Assembly by Minister with responsibility for that portfolio, Dr. Earl DeVoe, income figures indicate revenue decreases from $14.3 million in 2009 to $14.2 million in 2008, and total expenditure from $10.3 million in 2008 to $8.3 million in 2009. The report also reveals that during 2010, the Bahamian flag registered fleet recorded 331 casualties and incidents. That's down from 409 in 2008. Now, the majority of these were of a minor nature, and most cases have been closed. According to the report, there were 28 cases, down from 32 in 2008, which were required to be logged by the International Maritime Organization. The flag continues to receive the support of established ship owners in Europe, Asia, and the Americas, with Greek owners making up 20% of the register. The Bahamas Maritime Authority is confident of growth in the next fiscal year, despite the downturn in market conditions worldwide. Well, still to come in the Bahamas tonight, the inspiration that tourism officials hope they've given to travel writers visiting the Bahamas. That story is still to come.